Someone in the chat says, "Hey guys." Yep. Hey guys, how you doing? Everyone all right? I've had a bunch to drink, so I'm gonna be all over the place today, but I'll try my best. I think it's gonna be fun regardless. But do excuse me if I start slurring words and stuff, because I've been celebrating today a bit, and yeah, gonna be an interesting one. But I promise I'll try my best, and I think it's gonna be good. All good, Doug? You okay? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, market's been a little bit wild all over the place, but definitely interesting. A lot of stuff to do whenever the market moves like this, and I think we will have enough to talk about for sure. Congrats on the sale, mate. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, pretty good day. Price-wise, we haven't really moved, but we'll still talk about it in a sec. Before I start, big shout out to Blockfolio for sponsoring the show. Their links are in the description if you want to check them out. They still do all the portfolio tracking that you kind of used to, that we've done for like a couple of years now. But they also allow you to trade on there with your mobile phone. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check them out. I can only recommend them. I think they're really cool. So yeah, good newsletter yesterday, Cred and Don. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, we've had a bunch of really wild price action, and I think it's worth to talk about. And I mean, I think a lot of people are missing the higher time frame kind of narrative that we're kind of entered into. So there's going to be a bunch there that we're going to have to discuss. But before I start, everyone all right? Everyone doing good? What's up, Don? Not much, not much. Nice to hear you. Right back at you, bro. Right back at you. 161 waiting. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for kind of sticking around, being interested. It's always fun to have a bunch of people to talk to. And yeah, appreciate every single one of you. Congrats for being one of the few, if not one of the only ones posting during the dip, duck with big balls. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly like one of my favorites kind of price actions to trade. It's just like whenever Bitcoin crashes and people think it's going to zero, it's always a good trading opportunity. And I've found that the biggest kind of edge that you can have in this market is during crashes. So it's the one time where I'm most active. And this one being no exception, right? But yeah, let's start. Monthly time frame. We talked about this last month, that like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like 1, 2, 3 months of negative price action. Now we've had like 1 month of like top action, and then a massive crash on the next one, right here. And still no like cause to be overly concerned. I mean, when you're looking at this, right, even more so when you turn on log chart, there's just a pullback, right? We've had like a candle at the top that was kind of like indecisive, whatever. And then we had like a little bit of a trend setting candle the month afterwards. Now, this can pull back a couple of months, but it's still going to look good on the macro, right? There's no reason to panic. There's no reason to be overly concerned. Just means that we're going to have a high time frame pullback, and that's probably going to end at high time frame levels. And one of those levels is monthly support at 14K. I know that's a little bit far away, so the weekly levels might be easier for some of you, and that's going to be around 20K, right? That's the next support. We are in support right now, and I don't want to be like glossing over that fact. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to be net short in here. Like if you're bearish in the market in general, it makes a lot of sense to just kind of chill, right? Not have any exposure to the market is more than enough. Because I mean, crypto's been doing really well. A lot of people are interested in it. You don't want to be too bearish on it. Even more so given that we're at high time frame support. It's just, I don't like how this chart is looking, because whenever I see these kind of charts, right? And I mean, I can remove this for a second. I'll add it in a second again. But how I look at this, right, is we have this kind of action going on, right? Support down here, resistance up here. And as you can see, we broke what should have been support, 38K, and then closed below it, went all the way back down to support at 32K, and then bounced from there, right? And whenever I see that, I'm expecting the chart, or like in general, the price action to gravitate towards that 38K level, and next week to be a down week, right? Now that doesn't have to come true. If we close back above 38K significantly, probably gonna squeeze a little bit. Like a bunch of people go short on the drop, which I mean, I think you just shouldn't do. Like either you're positioned for the drop before the drop, or it's just gonna have to wait it entirely out, right? You don't want to be like getting overly exposed before anything, or even also right after a drop like this, right? You have like a 50% pullback and then you start shorting. I mean, that just seems a little bit crazy, right? You don't want to be doing that. If anything, like taking some risk off makes sense. If you got to invalidate it, taking that off. Like we wrote in the newsletter, if you haven't checked that out, it's really good. I think the last week was excellent. So yeah, check that out if you haven't. So yeah, we're kind of like in this high time frame support area, right? This is support, but we didn't close like I wanted to. Like I wanted to close at 38, so we could kind of do the complacency bounce towards like 49. That hasn't happened, right? It's not bullish enough to kind of hold 38K, and that kind of has me worried. I could see us close at 38K and then head down next week, right? So for me, it makes a lot of sense to just chill. I'm just going to be buying dips if I get them, right? If I get 32K again, probably going to pull the trigger again, like the fourth time now. And if that fails, I'm going to be looking at 20K. And anything besides that for me makes little sense, other than just buying bullish kind of reclaims, right? And bullish reclaims would be above 49K. And I know that seems like quite a bit away, but then again, I mean, we've been talking about this kind of cycle top for so long that like back when we talked about it, we were at 60K. So even if it goes all the way back to 60K, right? No harm done, right? It's not really a problem to get in, get out at the same price, because like, let's say we go back to 60K, I could see us go to 70, 75, 80, that kind of thing, right? Let's say this just does, and this is something that you're going to have to watch for. This does the March 2020 thing again, where it just completely breaks down and then starts creeping up again. When you see this kind of price action into 50, 60K, I'm going to expect much, much higher. If we don't, like as long as the price looks like this, I'm just not going to. It makes no sense to me. And I'm more than happy to just sit on the sidelines and just chill. That's kind of my view of the high time frames anyway. On the low time frames, there's a bunch to trade off of, but on the high time frames, like 38K is really, really strong resistance. And 32K is really strong support. Anything besides those two areas, I don't want to do any business at. Have you sold the bounce down? So what I've done, right? And I don't know if people follow me on Twitter or whatever. I bought pretty much the entire dip down here, most heavily at 32K. Sold the bounce at like pretty much exactly 42. That was pretty much exactly the top. And then bought this dip into 33, like 33, 44, 34, and sold it into the bounce, and then bought down here again into 32 and sold into the bounce, right? So I have taken a bunch of profit into this, just from a trading perspective, but I don't want to have any business in anything but what I've done, right? Like I'm fine with buying the bottom, or like buying like wicks to the downside 3 times. I'm not gonna buy it 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It's not what I'm gonna be doing. Could still be like a good, like if this goes back to 32, could still be a good buy. And I might be like, if I'm looking at the weekly, I might still do it the 4th time, but definitely not more than that. Like we go back to 32. I'm gonna look how strong the reaction is gonna be from that, and if it's gonna be weak, I'm just gonna get out and wait at lower support levels. That's kind of my plan. And if it goes higher, right, it goes higher. I'd much rather be kind of on the cautious side of things and just get back into position above resistance than down here. Nearly bought an altcoin dip today and saw Kret's post, changed my view. Very good, just would have stopped me out. Yeah, I mean, I'm nice to hear that. Yeah, Kret's always excellent. Kret rarely posts whenever these moves happen, but if he does and he has strong convictions, always good to listen to him. So now you have empty Bitcoin pockets now. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've had empty Bitcoin pockets for basically 60K is where I sold the last bit of it, and ever since then, I mean, you might call me a bunch of people have been saying I'm flooding the market because I'm not in position, but I've just seen weakness in here, and I'm not willing to hold into weakness, right? And 60K seems like a lot for one Bitcoin, and that's just my view. And I've said the same thing way in the past, right? So could be entirely wrong. But I mean, there's an invalidation for me, right? And that's above 50K, where I'm gonna be switching back to bullish, and I'm fine with taking a haircut, right? I sold above or into 60, and I'm fine with buying back into 50, 55. And I know I could be getting a bunch of Bitcoin more by just buying here, but I'm just not convinced just yet. And if that's wrong, it might be, right? This could just be like March again, where it's everyone's in disbelief and it just keeps on rocking up. But for me, that's not worth the risk. I am more than happy to have exited high, and I'm more than happy to buy back high if I get to. Thomas asks, do you think we should focus on trading Bitcoin at the beginning? It's hard to trade altcoins when Bitcoin can do anything. It depends, right? Depends on when you join, right? A bunch of people join during the bull market, right? I mean, this is up only market basically. And then if you look at altcoins, they outperformed even Bitcoin, right? And when you have this bullish trend, no corrections, whatever, it's fine to just trade the altcoins, make a bunch more Bitcoin with it. But the moment you start pulling back, it gets a little bit more difficult, right? This kind of move liquidated a bunch of bulls, liquidated a bunch of people that kind of believed into in the up only narrative, and now it's getting a little bit more difficult because you have a bunch of people worried that, oh, have we put in top, have we not, where are we going next, that kind of stuff, right? And when you have that, people are more worried, people are less prone to take risks, and then it's going to be harder to trade your altcoins. So if you start out and you really want to be kind of building a base for your trading strategy for everything that you do in the market, definitely look at Bitcoin first. And if you want to be trading altcoins, still look at Bitcoin, right? You can't forget that when Bitcoin does a move like this, right? I mean, I've had this discussion before the drop, right, in this kind of area, where people are like, my altcoins are doing well. Why should I be worried about Bitcoin? Why should I be caring about Bitcoin at all? Because my altcoins are doing well. I don't really care. But the moment Bitcoin does a bigger move, you're going to be wrecked in your altcoins. So you have to kind of keep an eye on this, even if you don't want to. So at the minimum, look at both. If that's too complicated for you, I mean, it's fine to just look at Bitcoin for the trading kind of side of things. And then just do the investment side of things on the altcoins or whatever you want to be doing. But yeah. Whew. Yeah, today is gonna, I'm already noticing that today is gonna be a little bit difficult for me. Jesus fucking Christ. Can you explain why you saw weakness at 60K? So the reason why I saw this, right? And this is something that I talk about a lot, is we can do this on a clean chart, right? So Bitcoin kind of started rounding out here. And that's not necessarily bad per se. It's just it's ranging, right? It's basically going sideways. But what I saw was that altcoins kind of outperformed Bitcoin heavily on this top, right? So altcoins went ballistic, and none of that buy pressure translated back into Bitcoin. As you can see, right? You had like a higher high, put in a higher high on the Coinbase news. And this was like the biggest sign that we were in trouble. Coinbase listing was in here. And all it led to was kind of a stop run of the highs, right? So everyone that was shorting this got stopped out by the Coinbase listing, and then it started dumping, right? And so for me, the narrative was, okay, the Coinbase listing didn't do what the market wanted it to, or in general, like it hadn't, like there was not that much bullish follow through. So I want to see like the bearish view invalidated at that point, right? So you have like a fake out to the upside that gets entirely engulfed, you trade to the downside, and then you bounce a little, right? And during that entire time in here, you get altcoins go completely crazy. And none of that translated into Bitcoin bits, right? Usually when you have altcoins go up, you have Bitcoin go up as well, right? Just because like a bunch of people are interested in the crypto markets, like everyone is excited, people are going to buy Bitcoin, right? But if the price is going to go down while people are buying altcoins and Bitcoin, like you have to wonder who's actually selling it. And it's most of the time it's like bigger holders, it's people that took advantage of most of the run and are trying to kind of de-risk. And that's what I saw in this bounce. And that's kind of what I took advantage of. So you saw the Coinbase listing basically at the top. We've seen that a bunch of times. Whenever you kind of have bearish price action after bullish news or after a bullish event, usually means like smarter money is taking profit into that kind of event. And that's what happened. We had a crash back down. We had that bounce where altcoins went completely ballistic, but Bitcoin just couldn't keep up. And whenever that happens, like people are just too focused on the altcoins and are just over leveraging in the altcoins, and Bitcoin drops, they're an easy picking. Like it's so easy to liquidate people in the altcoins by just pushing Bitcoin a little bit higher, a little bit lower in that kind of instance. And then you saw like the altcoins go down 50, 60, 70%. And that's what we saw. So there's a bunch of kind of confluence there. One, the chart just started rounding out. Two, Coinbase listing. Three, the altcoins going ballistic while Bitcoin couldn't keep up. Like that's like the most obvious ones. And then obviously the TA didn't look too pretty for me as well. Even more so when you started breaking down here. But that was just my view on it. Like if you had a different view, like the moment you started breaking down below this low, right? Because what happened here, right, is you set a low, you set a higher high, right? You have a high here, you set a higher high, but then you set a lower low. And that's like a first warning sign. And then the moment the bounce couldn't make it above this high, that's a bad sign for you. And that's not something you want to be seeing. And then the moment it breaks this low, it's just like the entire market structure just flipped bearish. And that's something you don't want to be seeing. And the latest kind of warning sign was that close below like 40, like 49. Like we closed back below 49, and that was like, okay, you don't want to be in the market anymore. Or at least not in the Bitcoin market. Hope that helps anyway. That's kind of how I look at these markets. Like I look at, are Bitcoin and altcoins divergent? Is Bitcoin kind of in an area of support or resistance? Like I said, right now it's in a high time frame support area, but it's not showing the strength that I wanted to see. So it makes a lot of sense to just kind of be chill about it. Doesn't mean you have to short, just means chill a little bit, see if it kind of develops in a bullish way or in a bearish way. It's a complacency bounce, boys. Pack it up. Bounces are for shorting unless we start breaking back above 50Ks. Yeah, like talking about the title, right? So for me, looking at this isn't actually like strength. A lot of people are talking about like how strong the market is today, or like how strong it's been yesterday or whatever, right? We've had a massive drawdown. I actually expected more because we had a massive drawdown of 55% almost with no bounce, right? And then we had a bounce of 42% that didn't lead to anything, right? Market just tapered out. started being weak again. And now all we're doing is basically putting in a range here. And that's not necessarily bullish or bearish, right? This is the range that we're trading in. But the fact is, like, we've had an impulse to the downside and now we're ranging. And the chances of going down are higher than the chance of going up. Doesn't mean we can't go up. It's just like the chances of it are lower, in my opinion. Because we've clearly had a bearish failure in market structure, right? You have your lows here, high low, low low, lower high, breakdown, right? So low time frame wise, this is a break of market structure, and now we're kind of ranging. And I mean, you can trade that range, and I've done that, but anything beyond that, unless we start trading above the range or below the range, it's just speculation, right? And it just depends on kind of how you view the market. If you're bullish, if you're bearish, you can do whatever you want to. But for myself, like anything bullish above like 40, that's reaching, trying to kind of get more out of the market than it actually offers. And anything below like 34, 32-ish is reaching as well, because we're clearly still in a high time frame support area. I was tethered up at 59k, then 58k, but then I got suckered back into position because the altcoins were ripping insanely. That's how it works every time. So, I mean, I'm not saying that we 100% have like top for the cycle or whatever, but every single cycle top that's been like decisive and that's kind of stayed in place has been like that. Like the reason why I was so bearish into 60k was because it reminded me so much of 20k. Right? Because we had the same action in here where it's like Bitcoin topped and it wasn't really hard to see, right? This was a news event in here. We had CME futures kind of launched. You had like all this kind of bullish propaganda going around, and it didn't lead to anything, right? And was a breakdown. Most people kind of saw that Bitcoin wasn't really that bullish, right? They were like, okay, this is going to consolidate, go sideways. Like no one was really saying, okay, Bitcoin is going to 100k immediately. They were like, okay, this is going to go sideways and then go to 100k back then. But they weren't really saying, okay, this is like the most bullish price action. But like the altcoins went completely ballistic, so no one really cared, right? Like why would you be caring about Bitcoin like dropping like 50% when your altcoins are going up and down like 400% up, then like 30% down, then another 500% up? Like you don't really care about like this price action. But you start caring when it breaks down and the altcoins just go down like 50, 60, 70% in a day. And that's what happened, right? So like all the price action in the 60k range just reminded me of like how I traded back at 20k. So I was a little bit cautious and paid out in the end. Just having had that experience back in 17, 18, paid out in the end. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to play out one-to-one the same again as we've done back in the past. But so far it's pretty damn similar. And I would say, like, if I had to make a guess, we're kind of in this range. Like if you're comparing price action right now, and that's something I've been doing over the last few days, we're in this kind of area. We've broken down, and now we're consolidating. And back in 17, 18, like this was in 18 already, that led to one final washout. Not entirely sure if that's going to happen again, but if I had to make a guess, if this is going to play out the same way again, we're probably going to be in this area. Bye sooner, Mr. Moon. I like that. Yeah. Kret's been incredibly worried about me being drunk today. So I hope I'm not disappointing any of you guys with like the quality of content that I'm providing today, because like I said, not at my best, but I think it's going to be fine. If not a little bit more funny than usual, because yeah, being drunk is always fun. I had that 17 wipe as well at 60k, but I didn't play it well. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? If you've gone through a few cycles, you start to kind of trust your gut instinct, and you start to trust like seeing what you've been seeing in the past. But it's obviously never going to be perfect, right? And these kind of fractals saying, okay, this is just like 17, 18. I mean, that's not going to work every time. It's just like this time felt so similar that I was like, okay, I'm gonna just try to emulate what I've done back then. And if it doesn't work, I'm probably wrong and it's mega bullish. And if it's gonna work, the top's probably in, and it's gonna work just as well as it has done back then. And I mean, it has been working exactly as well as it has back then. So yeah. Well, my remedy was to just take a nap. Just woke up. Yeah. I mean, that's the way of life. I've just been chilling in the hot tub all day, drinking wine, and yeah, definitely had too much. Even more so because the hot tub is hot. If you didn't say anything, I wouldn't have noticed. I'm more than happy like when people are like, oh shit, I noticed this, like something I've gone through before because you mentioned it, because that's like the best kind of feeling. I hate when people just blindly copy trade me, because I mean, you're not gonna learn anything by doing that, right? You don't know where my invalidation is. I mean, sometimes I tell you, right? But in general, like what my thought process is, why I'm doing the decisions I'm doing. But if you're kind of making up your own mind, I mean, that's always going to be most gratifying for me anyway, because I see that people actually care to kind of use their brain and apply what I'm trying to teach anyway. Microstrategy echo bubble observation room. Jesus, I don't even want to look at that chart. It looks so bad. Like this is so bad. It's actually bounced before Bitcoin though. It's interesting, but I mean, does that remind you guys of anything? Like this kind of chart? Fucking market cycle in action right there. But it's not my market, and I'm not like, I wouldn't like want to be telling people to sell or buy MicroStrategy. I've always been saying, if you want to be buying Bitcoin exposure, buy Bitcoin. Don't buy any of the others like Riot or MicroStrategy or any of that, like kind of taking risk on behalf of the companies kind of stuff. Not a big fan. Just trade Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin and hold it yourself, or put it on an exchange that you trust, but it's much better than just taking the risk and buying MicroStrategy. You don't want to be reliant on Michael Saylor. Like the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that you're not really, like there's no figurehead, right? And if Michael Saylor loses his mind, I mean, MicroStrategy is going to nuke, right? Very unlikely that's going to happen, but you have no risk of that in Bitcoin. And then just trade Bitcoin instead. Turn off log. I mean, if you wanna FUD people out, I mean, there's better ways to do it. This looks so bad, though. This looks so bad. Like this legitimately looks like any market cycle that we've ever seen. Any altcoin market cycle. Like when you see a chart like this is always when you have to be a little bit cautious, right? You don't want to be too aggressive when you see a chart like this. And then even more so when it starts breaking down. Like this is where you panic. And this is basically where like 600 for MicroStrategy, and it broke down to 480. And I mean, it doesn't have to play out, right? If it reclaims 600, I mean, who knows where that's gonna go. But like, I don't really see a good reason fundamentally or otherwise to buy this thing. You just, I mean, as Bitcoin bull, just buy Bitcoin. When you say MicroStrategy, we can tell you're drunk. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm just gonna start talking German. The more I'm drunk, the more German I'm gonna be. Jesus Christ. Buy Bitcoin, Donald. Yeah, that's what I've said. In the long run, that's gonna be a good bet, right? I'm not bearish on this thing long term. It's just like, I hope I'm gonna get a better buy. And if I'm wrong on that, I'm gonna be wrong on that, right? But like, if there's anything that I've learned, like if you have like a new trend that does something like this or does something like this, like you want to be fading that move, right? This is a new trend and you've had like a bounce, a counter trend bounce, and you don't want to be getting too bullish into this unless you actually start getting bullish confirmation in my view anyway. Why is your English so good? I mean, I don't know. I've just been talking English a lot, and I wouldn't say it's good. There's still a lot to learn. Cred bullies me pretty much every week about it, which is good, right? Makes me learn stuff. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because Cred bullies me daily. Don's on bottle analysis. Yeah, I mean, like legitimately, I had to start, I had to stop drinking because I was like, if I continue drinking, I'm just not gonna be able to do this today, and didn't want to do it because I mean, streaming is always fun, right? And didn't want to have to force Cred to kind of sit there and stream in my stead just because I can't stop myself from drinking. What are you thinking on centralized exchanges versus decentralized exchanges? What does decentralized exchange got to have to beat or match a centralized one? I mean, honestly, like I just trade. I don't really like whoever's gonna win is gonna win, right? I'm not gonna be the guy that's gonna say, okay, centralized, decentralized exchanges are better. I'm just gonna trade wherever the trading environment is better, and so far, like the best trading environment has been on centralized exchanges, just based on the fact that ETH fees have been high, so it's really difficult to kind of trade in a good way on anything that's based around ETH, and but still, like there's a bunch of good stuff in the decentralized exchange space, right? And I'm not kind of saying, okay, that's not gonna be the future or whatever, because I mean it might be. It's just I'm just gonna follow the one that's gonna do me the best, offer me the best fees, offer me the best trading experience, and so far that's been centralized exchanges. But I gotta say, like the decentralized stuff has been picking up a lot. Like I've made fun of it in the past, but like the last few months I've actually been really impressed by the decentralized stuff. So, I mean, I'd be more than happy to kind of cut the middleman, go for the decentralized stuff. Once we actually get like a blockchain running that actually doesn't have the issues ETH has, or if we start fixing ETH in a way where you can actually use it. More simple words today, chat. Jesus. Is it that bad? Like, am I doing this bad? I'm 2 bottles of wine in. Like, am I doing that poorly for it? I don't know. Like I literally can't tell. I might be doing the worst stream of all time, and I have no idea. Could be. I'm trying not to anyway. Oh heck no! Do not trade trunk. Very bad idea. This is something that I will sign completely. Do not trade on any kind of. Do not trade on anything really. Like don't drink booze, don't take any drugs, don't do anything in that regard, because you want to be as clear as you can be, and even more so because I mean I've seen a bunch of people kind of take drugs to kind of get them more responsive, get them more focused, whatever, right? There's a bunch of stuff there, but if it's not something that you can be doing long term, you don't want to be doing it, because I mean, if you want to be a trader long term and you kind of get bad habits from the start and you kind of develop a substance, like you start relying on substances to be able to trade, that's going to ruin your life really quickly, right? Anything that you want to be doing long term should be sustainable, and taking drugs to trade definitely isn't one of those. Don is drunk on leverage. Nope. Cringe. Wow, look at me. I'm so drunk. Fake white girl flex looking ass. Fucking hell. Love you, Cred. Love you, Cred. You're doing great, Don. Compare yourself to the 600 idiots trading collectively 7 to 8 figures on your drunk ass advice. Jesus Christ. Every time I think about that, I start shivering. Fucking hate it. Just trade on your own. Like, don't trust anyone and make your own decisions. It's the best advice that I can give you. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. I still think like the best kind of advice that anyone can give you on Bitcoins, side of things, like 38 to 40K is big resistance. That's the area to sell. And 32K is like big support, and that's the area to buy. And unless anything, like let's say 40K breaks, I could see it go to 50K and do like a complacency bounce. And that's to answer kind of the question of the title that I've put in. I think we're gonna get a complacency bounce. The question is more of, is it gonna be from here to like 60K? Like not 60K, 60K is too high, but like 50, 55, like in this area, and then down, or we're gonna get down and then a complacency bounce and then like down into like maybe range into whatever. Like that's the question for me. I don't assume that we're gonna just flat out resume the bull market. Makes no sense to me after a break of the trend like this. I could be wrong on that front. I'm more than happy to admit that I'm wrong on that front if we go back to 55, 60K. And I'm going to be a bull tart again. More than happy to do it. Until it happens, just going to assume that we're either going to dip, and that's going to be a buy, like into the 20K range, or that we're going to rally, and that's going to be a sell, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be shorting anything. I'm just going to be waiting lower for a buy opportunity again. That's kind of like my Bitcoin view. And that could be completely wrong. And it's something that you have to be aware of, like if you're an investor, because the thing that I hate most about like being public about my opinion is like, I'm going to be public and I'm going to be saying, I don't like 60K here, right? Like that's what I've been saying. I don't like how the altcoins are behaving. I don't like any of it, right? And then it drops 50% and I'm going to be saying the same thing still. And then investors that are in this space that want to have like a position for the long term are like, this guy was right about the drop from 60K to 30K. I'm just going to copy trade him now because he's probably going to be right from 30K to 20K. And then it bounces and they're like, fuck this guy. I want to be exposed, and they buy like into 50K and it dumps again. And then they start hating me on Twitter. It's like my worst, like this one thing that I hate most about being public about my opinion, because people tend to ignore my opinion at the highs or at the lows. And they're gonna be listening to it in the middle of the move, where like the uncertainty is the highest, right? Like I'm much more uncertain about price movement in here than I was in here. So take that and kind of build your own opinion around it and trade on that. Like if you're an investor, don't do anything stupid. If you're a trader, I mean, same advice really. When super cycle starts though, I mean, if you go back to 60K, it probably does. Like legitimately, there's a bunch of funds, and we're going to be talking with RV again on Friday that are really bullish right now. So I'm not necessarily like this has to go down opinion. It's not necessarily the one that everyone follows, right? There's definitely people with different opinions, and I completely respect that. It's completely fine, right? If you don't think this is going to be going down, I mean, it already went down 50%, so might as well say, okay, might be the bottom of the move. And that's, I think, completely respectable. My struggles as a niche internet celebrity, an autobiography by Donald. Jesus Christ. I'm easy pickings when I'm not fully there. I mean, I'm always easy pickings, but right now, like, Kurt's just gonna be destroying me in the chat and can do nothing about it. People like blame others or market instead of themselves. Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I mean, I can get why, right? Because, I mean, when you're listening to people, you hope to think that they're gonna be professionals at what they do. And I mean, I get that. And I mean, there's definitely blame involved, right? If you're giving bad advice, I mean, it's just how it is. Okay. Dude, come on, I've asked multiple questions that I really wanted to get answered, and I got the answer for the most stupid one. Sorry, bro. Like, I mean, I like I said, I can't promise quality today. It's just like the simpler the question, the easier it's going to be for me to pick out. So I'm going to pick the most stupid ones, just how it is. You boring? Sorry, guys. I mean, I'm just trying my best here. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. ETH bouncing really strongly, and it's something like I've tweeted about this. like literally at this low, that it's at support, and I don't really see a reason why you would be bearish ETH above Bitcoin, right? Like if you want to be bearish, just pick Bitcoin. ETH BTC still looks strong. Could go down, could go up, right? I mean, that's just how the market works. But like looking at this chart, like, do you really want to be like long-term bearish on this thing? I don't see it. I could see this outperform Bitcoin even further. If it doesn't, I mean, so be it. But it's just looking like a strong chart. And yeah, 0.055, strong support. We hit that, bounced really hard. And 0.008, strong resistance. I mean, if we go back there, I could see it start dipping again if Bitcoin doesn't behave like it. Like, I mean, if Bitcoin goes up, right, ETH's probably, or like at least goes sideways, ETH's probably going to outperform. If Bitcoin drops, you're going to see the entire market drops. It's just how it is. Fuck the charts, we need stories. I mean, that's the problem, right? The audience is big and it's like really hard to pick whatever. Like some people are going to find stories really boring. Other people are going to find the charts really boring. It's just how it is. Trying to kind of pick a middle ground, but I just can't pick the best one. Shit streams are often more fun than planned streams. I mean, do you want to call this a shit stream? Is this how it is? Jesus. Trying my best. Getting bullied left and right. Tell us some stories. I mean, what do you want to know? Or you can do like the last like 20 minutes of stories, but you gotta ask like good questions. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to tell any. And most stories are about people still active in the space. I mean, you don't want to be getting me started about like people active in the space. Jesus, there's so much drama right now, and I've tried really hard to stay out of it, but holy, But yeah, ETH BTC looked good. ETH USD looks complete garbage. Makes me think Bitcoin just isn't out of the wood yet. Right? When you see ETH USD bearish, ETH BTC bullish, Bitcoin bearish, it tells a pretty convincing story that Bitcoin is probably going to get outperformed by ETH. What's your favorite IDO? Oh, jeez. What's your favorite IDO? I mean, the IDO story is just basically, and this is something I've talked about in the past, is like people get free coins for shilling coins, and then they dump on you, right? And we've seen that with people. The most recent one that people allege has done it, and I don't want to say it because I mean I don't want to get sued. But Scott Melker, for example, has been named as one of the people that has been doing that, like getting tokens for free for shilling it, and then or like for really really cheap, and then dumping them on people. I mean that's like something that's been happening regularly, and that's not only Scott Melker that's been doing it, right? There's been a lot of Twitter people that have been doing it, and I mean I get it why, right? You get like 6 to 7 figure offers to do that kind of crap. I mean a lot of people are gonna fall for it, right? Even more so like the people that don't have much in the first place. I kind of get that, and I don't want to do it because like whenever I think about that kind of garbage, right, it's like, yeah, I might get like 6 to 7 figures for this, but the cost of it all, right, the cost of my followers buying into these things and then getting dumped on is going to be higher, right? Like the people that are going to make money off of these kind of things, like are the coin owners, right? Like these people that kind of make scam coins, push them on the influencers. Like the influencers might make 6 to 7 figures. These coin owners might make 7 to 8 figures, right? And it's like I don't really see the point to take like money from my followers and then give them to other people and then take a bunch of it myself. Like fuck that shit. Just not interested. I'd much rather just not make any money, but it's just me. So I mean, whenever you see someone chill in IDO or someone that has been chilling in an IDO that hasn't apologized publicly for it and in a proper way, right? I mean, it's sus as fuck. Just based on the fact that, I mean, that's not a way to go about things, right? You chill these things, you don't take kind of responsibility for your actions. I mean, yeah, you kind of, I've muted so many people, I've blocked so many people over this stuff, it's stupid. It's called socialism, buddy. You read about it. Yeah, it's basically taking your followers' money and decentralizing it, or like centralizing it even more. Actually, it's centralizing it even more because, I mean, a central party takes most of it anyway. Don versus Cred boxing match. Who would win? Cred, definitely. I'm so out of shape. It's insane. Scott Melka really paid to shill a coin that had $500 volume. Insane. That guy's low as fuck. I mean, that's just. I mean, I saw that too, and I don't want to make any accusations because, like I said, I mean, this is all public and this is gonna be recorded. But I mean, you see this kind of stuff, you get out. You don't want to be like involved with any of the people that have been doing it. It's just my kind of view on the market, or on the entire thing. Crypto influencers suck balls. I mean, as a crypto influencer myself, because I mean, that's just sadly how I have to call myself, given my reach. I mean, I agree. Don't listen to any of us. It's just not worth it. Like, if someone educates you and you can take something off of that, do it, right? Take the edge that you can give, that you can get. But I mean, don't trust anyone really in this space. If anyone asks you for money, if anyone asks you to buy any coin, if anyone kind of does anything stupid, don't trust them. It's not worth it. All the crypto influencers suck except me. I mean, I included myself, bro. I included myself. Storytime, why duck? I mean, the reason why it's Donald with a T is because I just found it like funny that like I used the wordplay of Don and Altcoin to create Don Alt, and then it's a duck because that could also be Donald, as in Donald Duck, and I kind of wanted to kind of portray myself as the stupid duck that gets angry a lot, and I just found it funny because it's like this wordplay on Don and Altcoin, and it's also the wordplay on Donald Duck, and then back in the day I had like Trump hair because I found that funny too, and it was like this triple thing. Nowadays it's just the duck, but that's where it comes from. Oh my god, I love this. All makes sense now. Yeah, some people like never really understood where it's coming from, but I just thought it would be funny. Like, it's just a wordplay on Donald Duck and Don Altcoin. How can we tell if the bear market is coming and we are in a bear market right now? You can't. I mean, you can kind of see like the drop that we've had and kind of think, is this maybe the start of the bear run or not? You can make your opinion on that, and you can kind of see price action, but you can't be sure. Like, never. Any market where anyone that sells you like anything where he's like, this is 100% certain, it's gonna be full of shit. Like, I can't say this is the start of the bear market. I can't say like this is the end of the bull market because like I don't know, right? My suspicion is that we're gonna get a complacency bounce into maybe like half a year or maybe longer of a bear market. But that's just my suspicion, and it's based around like how 17, 18 played out. And that could be completely wrong, right? But I mean, anyone that tells you they know 100% is most likely trying to make money off of you. There's no difference between sober Don and drunk Don. Lol, still awesome. I mean, dude, it's really hard, dude. I'm really struggling. I only listen to Don, Cred, and Cold Blooded Chiller. I mean, I can vouch for Cred anyway in that list. Anyone else, I can't. But yeah, I think there's good content out there, and most of the stuff that you get for free, like anyone that doesn't sell anything, is probably someone to listen to just based on the fact that they've resisted the offer of cold hard money, right? Because something that you have to realize on crypto Twitter is that anyone that doesn't sell anything has kind of denied 6 to 7 to 8 figures of promo money. Like, you look at people like Inverse Bra or like, a bunch of others that haven't chilled anything yet. And you're like, you have to realize like people like us are getting offered like 6, 7, 8 figures basically on the daily. Like, I mean, obviously not 8 figures, but if you kind of combine it all together, that's kind of where you end up during a bull run. Like you can make easily 10 million by just chilling garbage. That's kind of what people are offered, right? So if you think about it, anyone that hasn't done it, like, isn't able to be purchased for that amount of money. And I mean, I respect everyone that has been doing it. It's the same like with reflinks, right? A bunch of money is in reflinks. Like most people that chill reflinks make 6 to 7 figures a year off of reflinks. And anyone that can kind of respect, like kind of say, okay, they're not going to shill those reflinks because they don't want to lead people into like the meat grinder. I mean, they're kind of saying like voluntarily, yeah, don't give me those 6 to 7 to 8 figures of money for free, because I'd much rather kind of stand by my conviction. And I respect the hell out of that. But I mean, it's the decision of pretty much everyone in this space, and it's fine. Like I don't mind people doing it. It's just like something that you have to kind of think about, because I see a bunch of people that do like free content that get a lot of shit on Twitter and on like this entire like platform, and it's kind of hard to see, because I know that they're just saying no to a bunch of free money. Okay, Mr. Blockfolio sponsor makes a lot of sense, dude. Yep. I mean, the good thing about like having a sponsored show is that it's just like, that's basically like giving me a bunch of money to do this is the only way that you're gonna get me to do it regularly. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch, like I could be making a lot more money if I did some of the stuff that other people are doing, but it's just like, it's against what I want to be doing, so I don't. So yeah, don't hate people for doing it. I mean, some people are in different situations than I am, but it's just like, this is how it is. Gainsy equals Pepe. Yeah, that's true. Are you and Cred ever going to live together? I mean, we're both adults. But I mean, I hope we're going to see each other again, like in the near future. Kind of COVID's been nuking plans, but yeah. Cred's a really good friend of mine. Always fun to hang with him. Why I'm an Angel, title of Donald's autobiography. Yeah, I fucking hate talking about this stuff because like it sounds so fucking pretentious. I mean, it's basically just me being too stupid to take advantage of this kind of stuff. And it's not only me. Cred hasn't done anything as far as I know either. And a bunch of other people haven't. Like, I'm not trying to do this, whatever. Yeah. Not for Doge, but BitLord shilled other crap. Yeah, I mean, most people have. It's just how it is. Okay, let me get out of that topic. I don't want to keep talking about it. It must be boring, people. I get paid to chart Bitcoin by Elon's mining council. Yeah, Bitcoin never returned to old all-time high. What the fuck? I mean, that's like how bull markets work. In general, bull markets, what you want to be seeing is like let's say you have a bull market and then the bear market, right? And it goes sideways. You don't want to be seeing this and then, Jesus, why is this so hard? And then return back to the all-time high. Like, that's rarely happening. Either you're going to see just straight up only, which we've seen here, or you're going to see a retest here and then a bounce, and that's basically already it. And you've seen that in other markets. I mean, you had gold, right? Where you see the retest of the all-time high, and then it just breaks through. And it might still continue, right? But it's much, much harder to trade. So you don't want to be like, it's kind of a sign of weakness when you see the all-time high be retested immediately. It doesn't mean it's never going to be retested, whatever. But in general, like, this not having been retested is a strong sign, not a weak one. And people are like, but there's a gap there and blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. Fuck that noise. This is just a good sign that we've not retested the all-time high. Now, if we retest it, it's a strong, strong buy, because, I mean, it's the strongest support level that we have. But don't be like all these like gap talkers or whatever. Fuck that. Like, don't listen to it, in my opinion. It's not worth it. What are these scribbles? Yeah, dude. Excuse me. I'm beyond gone. I'm sorry. ETH did a decent job of all-time high retest, right? Yeah, I'm actually super, super impressed of like what ETH did. Like, that all-time high retest, we talked about this, like this didn't have me convinced. Like what had me convinced about ETH, and I still remember this very vividly when Cred and I were talking about the newsletter. Like something that we always do is like we kind of brainstorm, talk about like what we want to add, like what we think is interesting. And what we said was like, Bitcoin looks like garbage in here and ETH doesn't. Like ETH looks really strong and Bitcoin doesn't. Like why is that? And the reason was just because ETH was strong and Bitcoin wasn't. And that kind of convinced me that ETH was strong in here. It's just like, you have like this massive outlying power in ETH, or you had it, and Bitcoin crashed, ETH didn't, and then we had this last leg on ETH, and that is the thing that convinced me. But I like in general, like I try to avoid the all-time high retest because anything afterwards is kind of sus. Doesn't have to mean that we're gonna go down, whatever. It's just, as you can see, right, we retested the all-time high and immediately had a crash after. And if this has like a second leg, which it might, right, let's say this tapers off and has a second leg, I mean, do you want to buy this again? Like, it's much more difficult, right? So like the markets that don't pull back to all-time high immediately, I prefer much more. Lol, shut up, bro. I was the ETH permabull for months. I agree. I mean, I never said anything otherwise. Like ETH's been, like you've been shilling me ETH for the longest time, and I've just been saying, just look at Bitcoin instead. And ETH's been continuously outperforming. Like it's one of the biggest oversights that I've had. But then again, like at least I flipped the moment it started breaking, like 0.03. Like that was where I started flipping. But I do agree, like Cred's been shilling ETH basically in here and then in here as well. And I've been shilling it since here. So, I mean, Cred's been doing better than I have on that front. The more the stream goes on, the more drunk he sounds. It's just, I think you're just picking up on it. It's not because, like, I'm not drinking anymore. And I stopped drinking like an hour ago. So, gaps seem to trigger you, bro. Yeah, I mean they're not triggering me. It's just like it's such an easy way to miss out on the bull market, basically, in my opinion. Like if you're just hoping for a gap to be filled and then you just don't get it and you're just sitting there waiting, just doesn't make much sense. And the funny thing is, like, let's say you had like a gap at like 14K. And you're like, this had to have gotten filled, and then it never does. It goes to 60, and then you miss out the entire bull market. And then maybe it retests that like months later. I mean, what good did that do to you? Like nothing, right? I'm not saying it's going to 14K, but it's like you much rather be like in the trade, go ride it to 60K until the bull market is over in your view, instead of just waiting for the gap. I think Cred is more drunk than Don. Nope, he's just going along with it. You and Cred have the same accent, Lemao, what? Please see a psychiatrist urgently. That is like the one thing that I can subscribe to. Like, there's no fucking way we sound the same. I sound like a peasant while he sounds like, like the most sheltered upbringing anyone has ever seen. But yeah, that's what do you mean by gap? Like a bunch of people are talking about CME gaps. So if you look at the CME, Jesus Christ, if you look at the CME, I can't even type anymore. What's the ticker again? Jesus. But yeah, there's the CME chart for Bitcoin, right? And it's closed basically on the weekend. And whenever it gaps, you get, like whenever it closes and then opens on the next Monday or on the next Sunday evening, it creates gaps. BTC1, yeah, that's it. Whatever. There it is. So you see these things? I have no idea why I didn't remember this, but you see these things? Like, this closes on the weekend and then reopens on the Monday, and then you have like these gaps. And there's like this relatively famous kind of trading strategy, which says that you want to be like these gaps get filled eventually, right? Like if you don't get like a wick that goes through it or whatever, there's a gap there and that's going to attract price. And I mean, that's going to be, the thing is that's going to be true for ranging markets. If you get a ranging market, almost all gaps are going to get filled. If you get like a perpetual up market, almost no gaps are going to get filled, or like only half of it or whatever, right? So it depends on where the market is going, right? If the market's in a bear trend, you're not going to get that many gaps filled. And if you're in an uptrend, same story there. I mean, if you've been waiting for the gap to be filled at 25K, you've been waiting a long time. And then if you get it on the way down, that's like confirmation of bearish market structure and you get wrecked on the way down. So it's like, this doesn't really help you much in bull or bear markets. In sideways ranging markets, it does help you because, I mean, most prices are going to be revisited when the price is doing this anyway, right? Like let's say you have a gap here, obviously that's going to be filled if the market is trending. I used to speak with an American accent before I get bullied for it. Get out of here. I mean, now you don't though. Now you don't. But yeah, that's basically it. That's the gap. Now I've completely lost track. I'm sorry, like today is all over the place. Jesus Christ. It's the worst stream I've ever done. I'm sorry to everyone that has to sit through this. I've just been watching in 2x speed to catch up and now it's playing live. I can't tell he's drunk. Yeah. I mean I can imagine that if you listen to it like on 2 times speed, it's not gonna sound as bad. What is the crypto story? How did you make it? And what are some of your biggest wins and losses? I mean, how I made it was basically going all in on Dogecoin early on. And then it mega rallied. And I sold that rally and then went all in Bitcoin. And that mega rallied for some reason. And then I bought a bunch of altcoins. And then we got an alt season. So I got incredibly lucky. Like I went through like the 16 bubble basically. And just when I started out, I did all the perfect moves. No idea why. I didn't really have much idea of how the markets worked and all that kind of stuff. I just thought, okay, Dogecoin is pretty cheap and memes are going to do well back then. And Dogecoin went up a shitload. And then I was like, yeah, this is much, much too high. I'm just going to buy Bitcoin instead. And I bought Bitcoin and it went up a shitload. And then I caught a bunch of altcoins, less than others. Like a bunch of people made much more on altcoins than I did, but enough to kind of be able to say like that my crypto journey had been successful. And then I was like, okay, this is getting way too crazy because everyone was getting in at 20K, like 10 to 20K range. Everyone was talking about crypto. I felt like the same was true in the 60K range. But then again, like if this is a super cycle and everyone is kind of getting exposed, maybe that's just why. But yeah, that was kind of my story, like in a nutshell. Like I just got incredibly lucky during 16, 17, and played the Dogecoin rally really well, played the altcoins decently well, and then got out relatively well at near the top anyway. And then it crashed, and I'm really good at these kind of ranging markets. That's kind of my story. Like sideways markets are where I'm really good at. Ranging markets, trending markets, on the trading side of things, not so much. Like this is much, much harder. Like the move from 10K to 60K, really, really hard for me. Any kind of move in this range, not so much. Imagine being able to say I made it by first buying Doge. I mean, a bunch of people can say that nowadays. And that's one of my biggest losses. Selling like I had, and for the people that have been in the stream for a while, like I've been shilling Dogecoin at 15 sats for the last fucking million years. And I had a buy order at 15 sats down here and it didn't get filled. Like I got filled a little bit, and then because I only got filled a little bit, I rage sold basically into 30 sats, made it like a 2x, was really, really sad about it because I had like a big order there, never got filled. And then we got a pump and I was like, okay, this looks, I mean, I'm just not gonna get into this because I was legitimately like, this is one of my biggest mistakes. I was just beyond tilted at that point. And went to like 100, like if you just look at how much this is, 1.5k% up, retraced a little bit, and then went much, much higher. And that was one of my biggest, like, stupid moments. Just stupid. That was bad trading, bad everything, basically. Like, everything that you could be doing wrong, I did wrong there. Take that chart away. I mean, yeah. You don't have to ask me twice about that one. Oh, don't tell the story, F-Pro. And the funniest thing is about Dogecoin, like, I was tilted, but I was still, like, because I'm, like, not completely shit of a trader, like, I was legitimately trying to buy, basically the retest down here at 20 sats because I was like, okay, this just seems like a spring. And I spammed cred. I don't know if you remember, but I spammed cred that I thought Elon was buying this, like that candle was Elon. I tried to buy this at 21.20 sats again. And then it stopped at 22. I never got where I wanted to go and then just fucking ripped. Have fun staying poor. Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, and now at the end of the day, like my first buys would be up still 6.4k% against Bitcoin. Was there 100x possible? That's much more than a 100x Pro. Like it's like basically 100x. But then again, Bitcoin went up a lot during that time. That's why I'm saying it's more than 100x. So that's like the most painful story. But it is what it is, huh? It is what it is. Why does it crash when everyone is buying? Doesn't make that much common sense. The thing is, when you have a market, right? You have a market and it inflates a bunch because like this should kind of show the inflation of the market. It's getting bigger and bigger because a bunch of new people are getting into it, right? Like at some point, you're just running out of new people, right? And what like if you have no one new coming in, if you have like basically the market stagnate, people that got in early are going to take profit. And if no one new is kind of attracted by that kind of market, you're going to get that bubble deflate again. And that's how crypto's always been. It's been like, it starts out small, a bunch of people get in and it inflates. And at some point, like everyone stupid is already in. And you can't like sell Dogecoin to anyone more stupid anymore because everyone that is more stupid than you is already in. And it's like, okay, at some point people are going to notice that like Dogecoin really, like for example Dogecoin, and it's a lot, like it's the story with most crypto anyway, is that these things don't provide anything. And then like there's no money generated by this thing. It's just people speculating, right? And then if everyone dumb enough to buy this thing is in, like who's going to buy it from you? And if you notice, okay, there's no one left to buy this from me, you're going to be selling, right? If you're in any way smart. And that's going to deflate the bubble. And then other people are going to be like, oh shit, this is crashing, I'm going to get out. And if no one's there to buy it, I mean, it's just going to have a crash. That's how it works. That's why like whenever you get these like people in this space that have no fucking idea what they're talking about, it just means like the space has grown so much that you now get like the people that have no idea what they're talking about. And those are most likely the last people to get in. Sounds like Ponzi. I mean, that's honestly what most of this crypto is at this point. Like, I mean, I've never been kind of denying that fact. Like, most of crypto has been Ponzi-like. It's all based on promises and no real stuff that gets delivered. And I mean, that's how it is. Now, nowadays, you have a little bit more of promise. You have DeFi coming in where you at least have people kind of building something that is worth something. But like for the last few, like 10 years, most of this stuff has been Ponzi-like. And I mean, that's just my view on the market anyways. Like 90% of these altcoins are Ponzi's in my view. that are trying to not be Ponzi's, but most of them are just Ponzi's. And there's a big difference between like you build something and you try for it to be something serious and just outright making a scam, and then it's just a scam. So, I mean, don't be too hard on these projects that just don't turn out to be anything. Because if you think of it, right, like there's a bunch of startups that never develop into anything. And no one really shit talks them, right? They might be getting like, oh, it was a stupid idea in the first place. But like with crypto, when stuff goes to zero, they're like, okay, this was Ponzi from the get-go, like a money grab. Doesn't have to be, right? Some of these ideas that people are trying to kind of build, they're just stupid, or they're just not gonna work. And it's not trying to be a Ponzi. It's just not something that's gonna work in the end, and that's fine, in my opinion, anyway. But Don, I'm really enjoying the trading lessons I'm getting from the 2021 entrants. Yeah, market's been crazy. I've gotten a bunch of advice from people that are new in the space about like what to buy and what to sell. It's crazy. But yeah, that's my view on it anyway. Like I said, on Bitcoin, you don't want to be getting too excited above 38K, below 38K. Gonna be like a few more days till the week settles. And if it's above 38K, there's a good chance we go to 43, 45, 49, that kind of deal. If it's below, you want to be looking for 32, I think. And if that breaks, I mean, like Cred likes to say, just go on a holiday, come back in a few months' time, see where it's at, I think. And if you break 50, 55, just super cycle it up, gonna moon hard, and I'm down for that. I love the super cycle. It's just like, for me, I'd much rather play it conservatively, even more so given where the market is at right now. Like, this is either the first warning sign that the bull market is over, or it's the first correction. And if it's the first correction, we have much, much higher to go. And then 55 is a good buy, right? Like 55 to like 100K, still a nice 2x. Doesn't have to like get the 38 to 55 move in there, in my opinion. Like that's realistically, in my view, really what it is. It's either like the bubble has popped and we're gonna go like to 20K-ish in the long run, or it's the first pullback and we're going much, much higher, and then you have a really good buy into 50, 55, 60K area. And that's basically all you kind of have to do if you're brain dead trading this. If you're like a really good trader, take advantage of the volatility. Don't try, like I'm not trying to discourage anyone from trading this. If you want to be kind of exposed to the market, but yeah, there's like two opinions on this, and I mean, I'm not sure which one is right, but no matter which one of them is right, I think it makes a lot of sense to just give it some time. So yeah, hope that helps. Appreciate you coming by. Hope you didn't get bored too much, and hope I didn't just talk garbage the entire stream, because I couldn't tell. But yeah, appreciate you coming by, and see you guys next time. Before I end the stream, Blockfolio is sponsoring the show. Check out the links in the description. Like I said, they still do all the portfolio tracking, so that's a really nice tool to kind of see where your crypto is at. And if you want more, you can trade there as well. So yeah, check them out. Appreciate them sponsoring us, and appreciate you guys for coming by. See you guys next time. Bye bye.